Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for taking the time today to join us. My name is Haley Holland. I'm the Marketing Programs Manager here at TCS. And today my co-hosts and I will be presenting the newest TireWorks HD updates and the many benefits these updates will have for your business. Before we jump into the webinar, I just want to point out the control panel you should be able to see there on the right side of your screen. You can minimize or expand this at any time by clicking on the orange arrow button in the corner. And we have set aside some time at the end of the presentation for Q&A. So please drop your questions throughout the presentation in the questions section in your control panel. We are recording this presentation today so you can view this later on with your team. So here's what we're covering today. We're going to share the many improvements, enhancements, and updates made to this robust software that will greatly benefit you and your business. We're going to take a look at a handful of key new features that we think are really going to interest you. And of course, many of the current features of TireWorks HD are also updated and improved, so we'll touch on those as well. Then we'll wrap up our presentation with Q&A, then get you all back to your busy days. Now, I'm very pleased to introduce my two co-hosts for the day, Jesse Schmeling, TCS's Director of Product, who's really been a driving force in getting these features and updates available to businesses. And we're also joined by Jeff Carpenter, TCS's Director of Software Sales. Jesse, Jeff, always wonderful to be speaking with you. Please take a moment to introduce yourselves.
Hello, Jesse Schmeling here, Product Director for TCS TireWorks HD. Pleased to be joining you guys today to show off some of our new features and fixes.
Yeah, Jeff Carpenter, Director of Software Sales. Happy everybody's on, and we're going to talk about not only a recap of some of the big features in TireWorks HD that could really benefit your business, but all of the improvements and new features that we've done over the last build.
Thanks, guys. I'm really happy you're both here. Jesse, without further ado, can you take us through some of the TireWorks HD updates that you've been working on?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Haley. So just to cover the overview of our newly optimized business management software, this release entails 60 new product features and 110 enhancements. Some of the highlighted features are increased upsell opportunities,
Jesse, did we lose you there?
base DOT numbers. Also, we have an enhanced customer feature check-in with our with our TCS Inspect HD. It gives you the ability to convert appointments into service requests, plus the ability to edit customer and vehicle information from the tablet. So back to you, Haley.
Awesome, thank you. So we're going to meet the new and improved TireWorks HD. Jeff, this is some exciting stuff. Can you take us through some of the things that we've updated?
Yeah, so these are not going to be, completely new screens to many of you on the phone, but we always want to take an opportunity to emphasize this TireWorks HD Advisor screen. If you don't know, this is a screen that pops out from the lower right-hand corner of an open service request. There is a system setting in place that you can toggle on or off to automatically pop this window up when a user opens a new service request. And what we do on this screen is we give you every bit of history on that vehicle in a few different capacities to make selling those additional services, those high margin, low comeback services very easy at the point of sale when the customer is dropping off their vehicle. The Carfax history that can be mapped, each Carfax item can be mapped to specific packages that are built in your instance of TireWorks. The recommended services, any package that you have in the software can be set up with a recommended mileage and date interval So if a customer comes in 13, 14 months for a free tire rotation, you can automatically prompt to recommend an alignment check to your service writer at the counter. TCS inspect recommendations, anything that's flagged as suggested or required in a previous inspection will be mapped to specific packages in your software, making it very easy for you to add those additional parts and labor services. And then any additional previously declined services from the last visit where that customer came in. So again, if you have any questions on this screen in general, please feel free to reach out to either sales or support, and we can definitely help you take advantage of this feature. But it's one of the most powerful features in terms of generating a return on your investment with this software application. One of the changes that we made on this screen, though, is we added the technician and salesperson that was assigned to any services where there was a declined service in the past. So you can go back and reference those. Next screen, Haley. And then the communication screen. Many of you are probably taking advantage of this. A few builds back, we built a two-way text messaging integration through a service called Twilio. You're able to text customers, they're able to text you back. In addition to that, when we built our TCS Inspect TCS Inspect product, we enhanced that beyond just an inspection tool to a tool where you can greet customers at the vehicle, start new work orders on a phone, Android or iOS device, tablet, really whatever you like. We created a work in progress feature so technicians can see a complete view of what's going on with the service request without having to have a printed or paper copy of it. And then one of the most important features is we created what we call the live feed, which is a new experience for consumers in this industry where they can see immediately at check-in, they can get text a unique URL link to that live feed, see every service that is being performed on their vehicle, any additional recommendations that they can approve or decline right from their phone without having to stop what they're doing to answer the phone and have you explain it. All of the inspection details, the pictures, the videos, and everything are on that. And it creates a two-way communication interface with that consumer as if they were just sitting there in your showroom and you were able to walk them out to the vehicle. So very cool stuff. Definitely you want to be taking advantage of this. Again, if you have any questions or need help setting this up or leveraging these new tools, feel free to reach out. And then I'm going to kick it over to Jesse for the canned text messaging, which is a really cool new feature.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jeff. So canned messaging, the whole concept and idea is to save you time in communicating with your customers. Also gives you, as a company, the ability to define canned content. In addition, it gives you the ability to maintain a standard of approved brand messaging and categorize or organize by message type. So it's easy for the people, the advisors or technicians who are sending the text to recall those and to use them in the appropriate situations. And then also it gives you the ability to generate text messages on the fly as well from within the individual service requests, which I will demonstrate here momentarily. There are some really cool new features added to our send text window with canned text messaging. And one of those is the idea of using shortcuts. So putting a hashtag in front of a keyword that we have reserved to be replaced with the actual values. For example, hashtag customer name would be replaced with the full customer name on the service request or the customer that you are texting. Vehicle description, again, as well, would be replaced with the full year, make, model, engine of the vehicle. And then another example is even the username. So you can quickly identify who you are as the sender to your customer without having to type your name in. The new feature affectionately has a window that I call the Batman window with wings that expand from the left to the right. And so without further ado, I'd like to share my screen and present this feature a little bit more depth.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when it comes to canned messaging, there's 3 components to canned messaging that I want to make sure everybody's aware of. The first is going to be access rights. So under company setup, access rights, the quickest way to find them all is just by simply typing in the word text. It will filter you down into the specific new access rights that we have added for this feature. So let's just cover those very briefly. Canned text messaging, the ability to manage the canned text messages, to view and or create those messages, then the ability to use those messages, the ability to use the placeholders within the canned text message or the send text window. And then also, if the desire is there, you actually can remove the user's rights to free type or hand type into the text area, so that really their only access or only ability to send a text would be a canned message. So all of those access rights are readily available by typing in the word text in the look for field. The management of canned text messages is under the company setup menu, and then canned text messages. Similar to many of our other management windows, to add a new one, you can simply click the plus sign and it will pre-populate some of the required fields. And so you can type in the code that you desire. So if this is just TCS, well, I guess you guys wouldn't be calling it TCS, but we'll just call it live feed. And then we can type in our message. So hi, and down below we have all of our placeholders here. So I can just simply double click, hi customer name, please review your live feed here, and place that in there as a shortcut. And so these values with a hashtag in front of it, again, will be replaced with the customer name and then the related live feed URL that Jeff mentioned earlier. We can assign that a message category. And if there's not one in there that you see, you can on the fly add a new category here. I'm just going to simply add it to the customer message category. All canned messages are active by default and they apply by default to all locations. But again, you do have the capability to come in and deselect a location. So they can be location specific and not just company specific canned messages. So that is the management. And then the third portion is to actually use or utilize this new feature inside of a service request. So I'm just going to pull up a service request here. And when I click on the send text window, you will get the new Batman window with the left and right expander wings. The left expander wing carries and holds all of the company canned messages. One of the nice features that we've added here is most popular. So if you do have new advisors coming in, or again, this will be a new feature to all users, but we keep track of how often a canned message is used and then would rank them appropriately inside of this window. And so they're easy to find if you do have a handful, 10 or so that are commonly used. Otherwise, all of the canned messages are within the categories that are defined by yourself, the user. To use one of these canned messages, you can simply just double click on the code here on the left-hand side, and you can see that it would populate the entire text. So very quick message with a simple double click, replaces the values with the customer name, the full vehicle information, in this scenario, the order total, also the location's phone number, and the close time. All of these are available placeholders. If a user happens to select the wrong one, they can simply double click on another canned message, and they'll get this warning that will say, hey, anything that's currently typed in there will be lost. Do you want to continue? If they click yes, then it would replace all of the previously typed text with the new canned message. Another quick and easy way, once a user is used to the canned messages and the naming convention that the company uses, you can simply just type in a name here, or you can click this drop list and it would show your canned messages. But if I just type in estimate, for example, and click the enter key, I do not have to type in the entire thing. It will, again, replace or place the proper text inside of the window. Additionally, a user with access rights can continue to add to this message. And so they can say, you know, we close at, and type in the hashtag, and then all of the options are here. So we know that is a location option, and I can simply scroll through the options here and get to state, sorry. I must be spelling it incorrectly, yes I am, okay. Or the other option is to actually come over here if you don't know the placeholders that are included, come in here and you can simply scroll down here and type in or double click today's close time. That's why it wasn't showing up. So we close at 6 p.m. And then send that message. So again, the access to both of these expander windows are access driven, security access driven. And so keep in mind that when you get this new version, also we've added some helpful hints inside of this window. If any of this information is forgotten, you can use what we call IntelliSense inside of the text message window, as well as how to add a quick add template. So with that, I will send it back to Haley in the studios.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and switch the screen back. Okay. Thank you very much for walking us through that. I love the Batman wings. It's going to be a very cool feature for our customers to use. Now let's look at our next major update, the TRP dot smart lookup. Jesse, I'm going to turn the phone back to you.
All right, thank you, Haley.
Of course.
So yes, the TRP Smart DOT lookup window allows the system to quickly generate accurate DOT numbers. What it does is it will suggest the most recent active TIN, which is what SMART stands for. This feature is provided to us through our partnership with TireWorks. And obviously the key around DOT registration, DOT numbers is accuracy. So that the end users, the end consumers receive any recall notices or updates on that product during the life cycle of the product. So DOT registration and reporting, this is going to help simplify the process of warranty information reporting. It will also automatically, as you guys all know, process and register those warranties through TireWorks. The system will use the base DOT number from TireWorks database. This obviously eliminates risk of incorrect DOT and ensure maximum accuracy. A slight anecdote here, we did a case study recently on one of our beta customers, and in just 4 days of business, the number of DOTs that were entered incorrectly was 25% of the entries. And of those 25% entries, if TRP Smart was used, it would have addressed and correctly identified the base DOT for 92% of those errors. So this product and this feature will drastically improve the accuracy of the DOT entry within inside of TireWorks. Now, this is not to say it is a replacement of your current workflow. So I still strongly encourage you to have your technicians or whatever workflow you currently use inside the shop, whether it's a technician or a service advisor or some other service personnel, to write down the full DOT number. But in most scenarios, when you get into TireWorks, you will only need to type in the 4-digit date code within the
And
software.
just a reminder for everybody, Jesse, if you're using TCS Inspect on any tire item inspection, you're able to take a picture of the DOT number in the event that you forgot to write it down or just didn't want to write it down, and you can correct that back at the counter later.
Great point, Jeff. Thank you. So with that, I would like to share my screen again and demonstrate TRP Smart for everyone.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm just going to pull up actually, let me back up one step. So with TRP Smart, there's two components. There's a system setting and then the actual functionality of its in and of itself. So with inside of the Manage Utilities System Settings menu, we can type in TRP or Smart. But the Smart lookup, we have the ability to auto launch a call out to TRP Smart's database in the event of opening the DOT window. If you don't want it to auto launch, you can still launch the TRP Smart lookup from within the DOT window, but this saves users a click here. So it's enabled for my location here. So we will demonstrate that. And so inside of here, I wanted to show you the 3 scenarios that are possible when using TRP Smart. There are, as many of you probably know, some scenarios, some situations where a manufacturer has multiple plants where they produce tires, and therefore there might be 2 different DOT manufacturer plant codes. And so I've got an example of that here. I've also got an example of where the tire is just manufactured in one plant and returns one base DOT number. And then the third example here will demonstrate that we still need to write down or capture, as Jeff alluded to with TCS Inspect, capture that DOT number so that it can be written down accurately. So from here, when I click the DOT window, because I have the auto launch, I'm going to get a message that clearly states this tire has been manufactured at multiple plants, and it's up to me, the user, to ensure that I'm selecting the correct base DOT number and then entering the 4-digit manufacturer code. So clicking OK on that allows me to then select the base DOT number here. And again, at this point, I just need to verify the date code on that tire and hit select. And once I hit select, it comes back to the already familiar DOT window, and I can click done. If I happen to select the wrong one in this scenario, I can do one of 2 things. I can either search base DOT here for all tires if I had multiple tires inside of this package, or for an individual tire, I can click on this button. I'm going to get the same message that lets me know it's been manufactured at multiple plants, but I can then come in here and change this to the correct plant code. So that's the first scenario. The second scenario is, again, when I click DOT and launch that window, it is going to return the base DOT number that TireMetrics has inside of their Smart database. And again, the user in this scenario only needs to type in the last 4 digits of the date code, and then they have multiple options. So if it's the same DOT number across all 4 of these tires here, I can just simply click copy here, and without having to rekey that in, it is now populated across all 4 tires. If it just happened to be on 2 of the tires, we can, let me just actually cancel out of this to show this. we can simply just copy it down into the next field using that, and then typing in, because again, there was only one base DOT represented in the database. And so if you do happen to have a different DOT number, this would need to be typed in at that time. And then the final scenario here is a tire that won't return any base DOTs. And so a user gets a message here that they don't have to click on, just lets them know there's no base DOTs. So it is up to the user at this point to type in the fully qualified and accurate DOT number. And again, even though I'm not using Smart, I still have the ability to copy this value down through the rest of these tires with either one of these buttons. And that is the demonstration of TRP Smart. Back to you, Haley.
Thank you very much. Before, as I'm switching my screens back, I just wanted to take a quick pause. I've seen many questions coming in from the group, all great questions, and we do have time at the end to go through these. I did want to share that we are recording this. I saw that question come through, and then somebody asked if we'll be sending out the recording because they joined late. And yes, you will all receive a recording emailed to you later this week. So with that said, Jeff, I think we've got something exciting that you wanted to take us through. I'll turn the phone to you.
Actually, Haley, I'll step in and take these two.
Oh, great.
Next two, and then I'll pass it over to Jeff here. So one of the other things you can do with inside of TCS Inspect is take brake measurements, which would then populate down into TireWorks, but previously that data has not been represented anywhere inside of the user interface. And so we have added the window for brake measurements. So whether you're using TCS Inspect to capture those brake measurements or you're simply writing them down, you now have a designated place under the vehicle data menu, which many of you are familiar with using for inflations and tread depths. But the vehicle data now includes a brakes tab, which allows you to capture pad and rotor measurements thickness, and then rotor runout, as well as then pad rotor and rotor runout or drum runout on the rear brakes. Again, that is under the vehicle data button inside the service request.
Beautiful, thank you.
Additionally, inside the vehicle data, there is actually a system setting. I'm not going to show my screen here, but many of you are familiar with our system setting menu and how to filter. If you just type in tread depth in system settings, you can turn on or off the additional fields that are in this new release. So we have added the outer, mid, and inner fields. If you decide not to use the 3 fields and you are using TCS Inspect HD, there's also a setting there to turn that on or off. And if for some reason you are using all 3 fields in TCS Inspect HD, but you're only capturing 1 tread depth, it is important to use the mid field inside of TCS Inspect HD if you do not have all 3 fields selected inside of TireWorks to show. But with that, again, gives you an opportunity to capture your wear pattern on each tire, and then appropriately have that discussion with your customer on the wear pattern of each tire independently, and advise them as to how to properly move forward with tire maintenance or tire replacement. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Jeff to talk a little bit more about TCS Inspect HD.
Great.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, some of you are using TCS Inspect HD already. Some of you have not quite jumped on that. ship yet, but we are continuing to make enhancements and improvements. We have even more in the pipeline. We're constantly growing the product and making it better and more usable for our customers. A few of the important updates that we've included, depending on the workflow, with all of your different businesses running, different workflows, processes, procedures, how you want to run business, we have to really cater and tailor the software to have a lot of flexibility in that. And so one of those things that we've done is we've created the ability to view the check-in or check-in customers using appointments. So for the shops that do aggressively use an appointment scheduler and keep their day very well regimented, previously we did not have the ability to look up inspections that already exist or appointments that already existed in the software to start a new check-in procedure. So you can do that now for those shops that are very appointment heavy. You can edit all customer and vehicle information that's in the check-in process as well. We've enhanced the number of inspection procedures that you can have. So you can have more than 4. It used to be limited to just 4 inspections or categories of inspections, and now you can have multiple, as many as you want. And then we've also added a toggle to show service requests that only have technicians assigned, meaning they'd be ready for work. Again, a lot of these are just based on the workflow of how you run your shops. And then we've created a few optional fields that were previously required. So mileage, license plate, and state are all optional now on that tablet.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Jesse, can you take us through the more than 110 features? Not all 110, of course.
All of them, every single one. Let's go.
Every single one.
Name
line
all of
by
them.
line. Yeah, so thank you, Haley. And I do want to make a quick comment on the 60 features. Obviously, we only showed you a handful of those today. But as you review the release notes, which I, again, strongly encourage you to do so you're fully brought up to speed on everything that's included in this version, you'll notice that a lot of our feature improvements this round were not new things necessarily. They're more tailored to enhancing the usability of our software. And so hopefully our customers will be able to appreciate those other 60 features that were in there. But when it comes to the 110 features that are currently in software that have been improved, I am very happy to announce that the age-old wholesale to retail transfer deadlocks, which leaves a transfer in transit, has been addressed. And in our beta cycle, we have not had a single instance of a transfer turning into or being caught in the in-transit state. So very excited about that one. Very happy to get that out to all of our customers who utilize both TireWorks HD wholesale and retail. Good stuff there. Secondly, the retail F1 tire search, we have not completely rewritten it. It all looks the same from a UI perspective, but the way that we're capturing and gathering data has been completely optimized. And we have seen tremendous performance improvements with our beta customers. I'm talking significant, like in some places 75% improvement in speed of capturing and returning the appropriate information, the tire SKUs, along with prices and ASLs and partner data. So that's a good one there. Retail price import utility. For those of you that use the retail price import, there was definitely some things that we could have done better from that perspective, and so we have addressed the performance improvement there. Retail credit override performance improvement as well, just around having to having the ability to have that credit approval done in an optimal way and in an efficient way, even from a database perspective. So that has been enhanced, as well as the retail customer deposit workflow and related processes. So one of the things I hope every customer can appreciate is making screens behave similarly when they look similar. So we are beginning that endeavor, and really the customer deposit window has been a pain point for many of our customers, and so we focused on that window first to bring a better workflow and related process inside of the customer deposit feature. And then lastly, And again, not all 110 here, but lastly, we do have a video library. Many of our customers have asked for continuous training or supplemental training materials, and so we have heard you and we have applied your suggestions in the form of a video training library, and we now have more than 70 videos that are linked within the software. So in many places you will now see a tooltip with a question mark versus a exclamation point or an I potentially, and most of those, if you hover over them, will say something along the lines of click here to get a URL to a video, to a training video on service requests, let's say. But all of those icons are in the appropriate windows linked to the appropriate videos. So you can click on that, get a URL, copy to your clipboard, and simply go over into your browser window and either hit Control V to paste or right click and choose paste and hit enter, and you'll be watching some great content and training materials on all the great features inside of TireWorks HD.
That's incredible. Thank you, Jeff and Jesse, for walking us through the many, not all 110 though, many feature improvements and the new update to TireWorks HD. With that said, I'd like to open it up for questions. So folks, if you need to, you can expand your control panel by clicking on that orange arrow button in the top right corner of your screen. Scroll on down to the questions section and send us your questions. We're gonna take a few minutes to go through these. All right, so I do have a couple already. Jesse, Jeff, let you guys decide who takes this one, but the first question comes to us asking, can you invite your customers to complete a Google review using this tool?
Yeah, I can take that one.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Or you can, it's up to you. Yes, so you can obviously send the customer to a specific link when you create that text message. That link could be the Google review, Facebook review, whatever you like. I will tell you, and Jesse might not like that I'm saying this, we do have a plan in our roadmap to create an automated text message procedure where, depending on the status of the service request, you could create a prompt for the user or an automatic text message to be sent out. One of the use cases for that would be an automatic submission of reviews. Right now, it's going to be manual. You can create a pre-canned text message like we showed you before, but it's going to take the user to manually send it out.
Great.
Anything you want to add to that,
Jesse? I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, no, I'm not afraid of what Jeff said. So it is definitely a phase one, really. There's so many things we can do with canned messaging. So excited to, again, get this groundbreaking stuff into our customers' hands, get some feedback, and find out ways that we can better put this technology to use. So.
All right, good question. Jesse, since Jeff took the question before, why don't you take this one? I have a customer asking, will there ever be an option to scan DOT numbers?
That might be a better one for me to take, actually.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm 0 for 2.
Yeah, so right now, as it stands inside TCS Inspect, we mentioned this at one point in the webinar. Anytime you select the tire inspection item, whether you select OK, suggested or required on the tire inspection item, it'll pop up a special window over the top of the inspection and allow you to capture the tread depth, the inflation, and the DOT numbers. In that interface, we do bounce that DOT number off of TireMetrics database to validate that that is an active, valid, and not recalled DOT. In addition to that, each one of those tire items, or tire, front left, front right, rear left, it has a picture option on it. So as it stands today, you can take a picture of each DOT, There's no OCR, optical character recognition functionality, where the software would, read the picture and decipher what the letters are. There have been a couple of hardware prototypes or experiments out in the industry that we have seen. We are, constantly partnering or looking to partner with industry leaders out in the industry. We partner with Hunter and Bartek and others. And I was just at the SEMA show last week in Las Vegas, and there's a couple of new tools that we're looking at partnerships with as well. So obviously we want to make sure that the tools are going to work. If we're going to integrate with them, we hate to put in the work to do it, and it only works 80% of the time, and users don't adopt it. But I think, what we've done with TireMetrics and the TRP Smart functionality to really pre-populate the majority of tires other than the last 4 of the date code is going to make it super fast to be able to capture DOTs and really have the best option out there today to eliminate errors as well.
Great answer. Okay, I've got a dealer asking, do these updates cost me anything extra?
No, they do not. They're all part of the support package. I do see a question here around TCS Inspect being an add-on, and there is some additional charges with that feature, and Jeff can go into that. But as far as any improvements to TireWorks, they are all part and parcel of your support agreement.
Yep, and the TCS Inspect add-on, it really depends ultimately on when you purchased TireWorks HD, when you signed on. Some of our customers that have been on a long time before we created TCS Inspect obviously did not have it included or even a thought in the pricing model. But about 3 or so years ago, we moved to more of an all-inclusive model where pretty much everything we get from a best practice industry-leading software package is included in your package. So if you're a newer customer, your monthly subscription cost, it definitely includes TCS Inspect HD. And for the handful of customers that signed on before that, we've probably already reached out. But if you have any questions or if you're not sure, feel free to reach out to me directly, Joe D'Amico, my inside sales guy, or just sales@tcstire.com.
Awesome. Okay, the questions have slowed down, so I will. We're going to go ahead and close questions. But folks, if you do have any other questions you'd like to ask, I do have some contact info. I'll share that with you here in just a moment. But before we wrap up and say goodbye, I just wanted to quickly summarize what we've covered today. So our team has been very busy, made over 60 feature improvements, and then as Jesse laid out, we've corrected over 110 service corrections here and there. He didn't go through the whole list, but we would need a lot longer than an hour. Canned messaging heightens your customer communication and definitely helps streamline your business interactions. So very happy to see that. Quick, thing to remember is the Batman wings. So very cool there. TRP Smart Lookup helps you eliminate service request errors. And then last but not least, TCS made major updates to the Inspect HD service request capabilities, as we talked about today. With that said, thank you so much for joining us today. TCS is extremely excited to roll out the new and improved TireWorks HD. And of course, thank you to my co-hosts. You were terrific. Folks, if you have any questions, like I said, or you're interested in what to do next, please give our support team a call at 888-449-8473, or feel free to send us an email at tireworks.support@tcstire.com. We look forward to connecting with you all very soon, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.